are in Quebec City at the CDA annual meeting, the 97th, and it's very fitting that we're closing our coast-to-coast interviews with Dr. Ian Landells from Newfoundland and Labrador, and we're going to find out the issues that's facing him in dermatology. So thank you for accepting this interview, Ian. I'm thrilled to see you again and sharing the love and passion for pediatric dermatology also. So tell me, how did you get into dermatology in the first place?
Well, I actually did family medicine first. I practiced family medicine for 2 years in St. John's. And the more I did it, the more I found myself gravitating towards the dermatology issues. And I would travel and do CME programs. I'd always register for the dermatology programs. And I remember doing one actually in Montreal and thinking I could do this. And so it was a big decision because I was practicing and earning, and I decided to go back. I did some pediatric training, dermatology in Vancouver, and then a pediatric dermatology fellowship in Chicago. And so it was 5 more years of training, but it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm so happy, and I still love every day that I practice.
Right. And so how does your practice work? Are you affiliated with a hospital? Are you in private practice or a combination thereof?
Well, I always say I must have ADD because I like to do a whole bunch of different things. So I do 2 clinics a week at the Children's Hospital. I do 1 clinic a week at the Cancer Center. And then the rest of the week I'm working out of my own private office and seeing patients there. So I like different environments, and it keeps things fresh.
Right. Okay. And what are the sort of challenges that you see in dermatology today, in Newfoundland in particular?
Well, in Newfoundland and Labrador, our biggest issue is that we have a little over 500,000 people spread over a territory that's the size of the United Kingdom. So the distance that people have to travel is the greatest. Now, we now have 11 dermatologists. When I came back, I was one of 3. We were down to 2 at one point. And I was very, very blessed to join Dr. Wayne Gulliver, who really has helped to build. And together we've been able to bring more people back. And so we now have 11 dermatologists, all focused in St. John's. So what we're doing now is we're developing traveling clinics where we each are delegated to different regions, and we're trying to coordinate that now with virtual medicine. And one of the good things about the pandemic, if there's anything good, is that virtual medicine really came to the front very rapidly. So now we're able to triage or assess people remotely, virtually, and then we can book them into traveling clinics. So we're setting up a network of these clinics. So that is really our biggest issue. People drive 7-8 hours each way to see us for an appointment, or they have to fly from Labrador. And that's great expense. It's loss of productivity. It's 3 days of their lives generally to travel to the place, come for the appointment, and travel back.
Right.
So we're hoping to address that with these traveling clinics.
Okay. And so are people taking photographs of themselves to send in, or their doctors are, or how does that work?
Both. We actually have an e-consult system where family physicians can send pictures and we can assess them. Or we'll actually do an appointment over the phone where the patient uploads securely photographs that they've taken. And obviously it's limited by their ability to take the pictures. We do video as well, but I really don't find videos that helpful. It's good to actually make the eye contact with the patient, but you can't really assess their skin very well. You need those high-definition photographs.
Right. It doesn't have the resolution.
But it works. And if it doesn't work, we say we just have to see you, but at least we give it the opportunity.
Okay. So some cases you can handle just through telemedicine?
Definitely.
And you can give the diagnosis and treatment, and they don't necessarily have to come in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is such a time saver and cost saver.
Great. Yeah. Okay. And what other issues are you guys facing in Newfoundland?
Well, I think everyone's issues are compensation and trying to have parity with other parts of the country, because we're very, very fortunate that we have a good group of dermatologists who really seem to want to stay. But, for example, we're trying to recruit a Mohs surgeon. We don't have a Mohs surgeon. And so compensation is very important because a Mohs surgeon can work anywhere in the country. And so we don't even have a fee code for Mohs surgery at the moment.
Okay.
And trying to convince the regional health authorities that this is a major cost saver. It's something we've needed for decades. For them to open up the resources and facilities, it's a struggle. And so we're struggling with that right now. But hopefully we're going to make some progress.
Okay. And what else do you find, like, does everybody have a family physician in Newfoundland, or in terms of getting in to see you?
Well, I think the estimate now is about 1/3 of Newfoundlanders don't have a family physician. 20 to 30%. And lately, they've been talking about 1/3 do not have family physicians. And this again comes back to compensation, because people are overworked and they're undercompensated. And so it's very clear that the way to attract physicians to a region is to make sure that the workload isn't too great and stressful, and that they're compensated adequately. So that is an enormous issue. Now, our government has made some steps, and they're trying to set up multidisciplinary clinics, which I think is a very, very good step. But the problem right now is they're literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're taking family physicians out of practice and putting them into these clinics, which really is just
moving them around.
It's a shell game versus actually recruiting new physicians.
Right. Okay. And how do you see dermatology moving ahead in Canada, and what is the place of the Canadian Dermatology Association for you in your career along the way, and where it could be heading?
Well, I'm very biased. I'm a believer in our association, and I'm old enough and gray enough to have seen its growth, and I'm really impressed with its development as it's progressed from this small, almost family association to, I believe, a very, very significant and influential professional association. And I do think our association, represent the dermatologists of Canada very well in promoting our specialty, showing it for what it really represents, because I believe we were not as respected 25 years ago as we are now. And I believe the association's played a major role. I think the logo programs are fantastic, and they direct the public, and it also makes them respect our opinion. And I think we're making more and more progress in that way. And we are recognized as the authority in disorders of the skin and nails.
It's very reassuring to see where we're headed.
And the future's bright. And our meetings are they're becoming partially virtual. We're doing CME programs. I think we're helping our members, and we're helping raise the profile of dermatology in Canada and globally. Really. Canadian dermatology, I think, is highly respected internationally now.
Right. You've seen a lot of our colleagues publishing in the prestigious journals, and really making a difference in the world of dermatology.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our researchers are respected, highly respected, and the quality of our data is highly respected.
Right. And anything else you'd like to share with, like, people that starting off in dermatology, recommendations as to where they should set up, or besides Newfoundland Labrador?
well, the beauty of dermatology is it's so versatile, and you can do a bit of this, bit of that, as I have, and you can go into a subspecialty and focus on that entirely, or you can do a subspecialty and focus on that while still doing other things. It can be surgical, it can be lab-based, it can be clinic-based, adults, children, it doesn't matter. It's wonderful, and it's so versatile, and I honestly believe it's one of the greatest specialties you can choose. You can be independent, you can be hospital-based. It really is whatever you want to make of it.
Right.
And I would encourage anyone who's considering it to pursue it, because certainly I've never regretted that change. I do believe family medicine is one of the most difficult areas to be very good at, because you have to know a lot about everything. Right. And it's why I focus. But certainly dermatology has grown, and while I've been part of it, and I'm very proud to be a dermatologist.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. and also to do the pediatric bent has been very enriching.
And as I get older, my plan is to scale back and just to focus on pediatrics, because that's where I get my joy. My real joy is dealing with children.
Right. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So recognizing one's passion within dermatology is important to honor that
Absolutely.
and work on developing it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you were at the pediatric derm session today.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
I always look forward to it. I never miss it.
Yeah. And so I think it's very pertinent that you be here in Quebec City celebrating Saint Jean-Baptiste Day. And we know that Saint Jean is the patron saint of St. John's.
It's actually St. John's Day as well.
Yes.
Because St. John's was and Newfoundland was discovered. I like that, discovered.
Yes.
It was there already.
Yes.
And there were people there already.
Yeah.
But the day that they landed was Saint Jean-Baptiste Day. So that's why they named it St. John's.
Oh,
so it's a holiday at home as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. And so I have my Newfoundland roots. My great-grandfather was in Lameline, and then moved up to Prince Edward Island. And so I have a special room in my heart for anybody coming from the Maritimes.
Well, I would encourage everyone to visit. It's a beautiful place, and hopefully we'll host the meeting again. It was 2010 that we hosted the last CDA in St. John's, so we'd love to host it again.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Ian.
Oh, Catherine, thank you so much. And thank you for all the hard work you've done as president and before.
Thanks.